Hello and welcome to the Life Capoeira with Mestrando Paraiba, our guest today from Capoeira Bamba Toronto, to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I will start off by saying that I have two little ones here, and they will be running in and out of the room, making noise. So I hope it doesn't interfere too much with the sound.
That's okay. I have two young ones myself, but they are usually in bed. We haven't had an interruption yet, but...
What time is it for you there?
It's 8:40 in the evening.
Okay. So mine would be sleeping by that time too. It's 3:40 for us here.
Nice. So you started in 1996 with Mestre Paraiba. Would you like to talk about that and getting going in capoeira?
Of course, yeah. So I started when I was 12 years old. My mom had moved to Toronto in Canada when I was 7. And at 12, I started capoeira. We actually had moved to Vancouver, which is where Mestre Bahão used to teach. And that's where I started with him there, only for a few months, maybe 6 months. And then we moved back to Toronto, where I was kind of just visiting different capoeira clubs. There's not really anybody teaching a regular class here back at that time. And then he came to teach a seminar here. And that's when I went to his seminar and we reconnected, and he invited me to go to Vancouver back again and train a little bit more. Was supposed to be trained for a month, turned into 3 months and 6 months. And I ended up living with him for a good 5 years in his home. I grew up there. A lot of my formative years were spent living in a capoeira mestre's household, which can be intense because capoeira came before anything else. Capoeira came before school, came before friendships. So I grew up very, very much involved with capoeira. And I think that's a big part of why I got to where I am today, because especially nowadays, we see a lot of kids, a lot of the teachers calling me, asking me, what do you do about the teenagers? It seems like they hit a phase where they all drop off. And it's true for us here too. But I think that having grown up in that environment during my teenage years definitely helps keep me around. Teenagers nowadays get pulled in all sorts of directions. So it's good to have a strong figure that encourages you to keep going with capoeira.
I think it was in 2000 that you actually started running classes yourself. What got you on the journey of capoeira teaching? I imagine with capoeira being your life in Mestre's house, was that always a goal for you, I expect?
Well, once I started living with him, yes. It wasn't in the beginning, but I always had this idea that maybe one day I can make enough just to get by with doing what I love, which back then was a big dream especially for a young boy. I was never very talented in capoeira. I had to work very hard. I was very stiff, uncoordinated, very shy. And yeah, that was always the dream from the beginning.
And you've gone from strength to strength since then. You've had a 9 times award-winning Capoeira Academy. It's one of the largest in Canada, indeed, in North America. How have you achieved this? I mean, obviously, it would have been a lot of hard work, but if you were going to be talking to other capoeira teachers out there that wanted to emulate your success, what advice would you give to them?
Just to go back a little, I wouldn't go as far as saying that it's the largest in North America. I know we do have or had a very nice studio. So we're working on something now also. But yeah, we're definitely the biggest school here in Toronto. There seems to be very few capoeira schools who have their own location. And that's not just here. I think all around North America and Europe, in Brazil, maybe there's just a lot more capoeira in general, but it's not very common here. Really what I attribute to it is a lot of things. It's not just any one thing, but I think that what really set me apart from the beginning was my belief that this was my only option. I see that a lot of times people, when they start teaching, they always have another job on the side, which is understandable, but they always have a plan B. And for me, that was true for about the first year of me running my school. But at one point, I quit my job. I moved into the academy, and the last $500 that I had in my pocket, I invested in flyers. I made like, I don't remember, maybe 5,000, 10,000 flyers at the time. And I had a stack of flyers. I had 24 hours in a day, no job, no kids, no mortgage, I was never a partier. And so I would literally wake up from the floor, which is where I slept, and look over to my left. And there was this big open space, which was our training floor. And from the minute I woke up, I had to figure out a way to fill that space. And so that was number one, is just really believing and diving in, going in with it with both feet, and not always one foot in, one foot out. And the other thing was my interest in learning other things that would help promote my capoeira classes. So there's not a lot of information back then online. So I'd go to the library and take out stacks of books teaching you HTML and basic things that I can do to market the school. And so I started learning basic, how to build a basic website, because those things, they still do, but back then I think they were even more. They cost a lot of money. A website would run you at $2,000, $5,000. And it was just not money that I had, but I had time. So I put the time into learning and educating myself on those things and marketing, learned some basic Photoshop and marketed my school that way.
And those HTML skills and things, have they played a role in the I Play Capoeira that you set up? Is it described as the Netflix of Capoeira? How's that going?
Yeah, definitely. I must say, I wouldn't say I got better at HTML. I actually don't even know how to write HTML at all. I just learned the basics. But the systems out there have become a lot more user-friendly. And so you don't need to write any code. But you do have to be able to follow instructions and troubleshoot and that sort of thing. So definitely lay the foundation, because everything it's graphic design. You gotta know a little bit about Photoshop, about how to edit some videos, and how to put a basic website together. And then everything else, we have everybody has the same resources, which is YouTube, right? You don't need a fancy university or college degree to learn how to do this stuff. You have YouTube and you have time. Those are the two things that we need. You can figure out anything from how to save, the world from global warming, to how to make a bomb online. Whatever you want to do, for good or bad, you'll find information online. So it's just a matter of you directing your energy in chasing after your dreams. So yeah, definitely played a role in the creation of I Play Capoeira.
And as we're talking about websites and your academy, unfortunately, you received the news that you've got just a month left because your landlords are basically kicking you out so they can repurpose their building. Yeah. And would you like to tell us about the efforts to find a new academy and how our listeners can help?
Yeah. Where are you located?
We're in the UK.
Oh, in the UK. Okay. I would assume it's pretty difficult there too, in terms of space and prices. The rental market here, the real estate market here is through the roof. A lot of areas are being redeveloped into condos, to apartment buildings. There's a lot of people who rent, like a 1-bedroom apartment. It's crazy. The prices are insane. And then property taxes as well for commercial property, especially, is very high. And so my landlord has also been struggling with that. So, I'm actually not, I can't say that I blame him. He's also just trying. He also has a family to feed. And we had a fairly good agreement with him for quite some time. And he's also just trying to make ends meet. And so he was forced to raise the price on us by quite a bit. But on top of that, also, he wants to repurpose the location for apartments, which can get a lot more money for. The property taxes also will be lower, because when it's a residential versus commercial, it's lower. What I think he wants to do is, we have the whole floor of his building, basically. What he wants to do is separate that into separate units, which he can, demand higher amounts when you combine everything. So that's where we are. We're looking for some places in the area, which is very difficult to find. We're in a very, nice neighborhood in the city. Not nice, I mean expensive, but I mean just, it's a very heavily culture neighborhood. We have a lot of Italians, a lot of Spanish, a lot of Brazilians and Portuguese. And it's a nice neighborhood. So finding a place the same size that we had is near impossible. And so we were looking at some places further away, but I don't think our students 100% of them would come along, because some people bike, some people walk. And so the tough part was finding what I told my students was, we have price, size, and location. We can have one or two of those, but we can't have all three. So we're either going to pay a lot and be in a good location. We're either going to have a big size, big location, and pay a lot, or we're going to have and be in a good location, or in a far location. We're going to have a lot of space, pay less, but be very far. So what we chose to go with is the one that is the scariest for me. We're staying close. We got the size, but the price is very high. And so we got two out of the three. The price, I believe, is the way I see it is there's out of those three things, only one thing I can control. I can't control the size. We're stuck with whatever we have. I can't control the location. Wherever we go, we're stuck there for the duration of the lease. And the price, although I cannot control what I pay, I can control my income. And so if I make more money, I'm able to afford the place. And the way we plan on doing that is we're going to rent it out to different arts, having, people run dance classes and kids' birthday parties. So we're really thinking outside the box here to be able to bring in that extra income. And then, of course, always constantly promoting. I told my wife the other day, in the beginning stages when we first got our place, when I lived at the academy, I was very uncomfortable. I slept on the floor. I didn't know where I was going to get my next rent money from. And I was very uncomfortable. Lately, I've been quite comfortable. Things have been going very well. We were very blessed, very fortunate. And so I think that when you're comfortable, it holds you back a little bit because you're not really striving for, not that we're not working hard. We still work very hard. But if I don't have to, I won't. If I want to take a day off, I can take a day off. Whereas right now we're going to go back to being uncomfortable. I think that that's going to give us a bit of an extra drive just until we get the wheels turning, and then everything will work itself out. We'll figure out other things to do with the extra space that we have. We actually got a lot more space now. And so it's just a matter of filling that up with other classes. I think we can make it happen.
Good luck. And for any of our listeners that would like to help, there is a crowdfunding page that has been set up. That will be in the episode description below for you to sort of check out. I appreciate
that.
The current financial environment aren't always the easiest for people to donate charitably, but if you are able to, then be greatly appreciated.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, and it's a difficult time because although it is, it's a holiday season now, so people tend to be a little bit tighter on money. But also what I told my students the other day is, yes, people are tight on money, but it is also the season of giving, right? This is when people are most charitable. And we had asked for $40,000 Canadian, which is I think less than your currency there. And we're up to about 20,000 right now. And one of my friends said, based on the support that you guys are getting, I have no doubt that you guys are going to do just fine, because there's a lot of people reaching out, whether through a message or donations. Just the amount of response that we've gotten, I think, is a testament to our reach in our community and our impact in the community. It would be terrible if we had asked, even for less and gotten, $100. I was looking at some GoFundMe pages here, and there's some people with, like $5, $75. I was like, okay, well, maybe these people don't have the same reach. And it seems like we have a big reach. People support what we do, and it shows, that GoFundMe speaks for itself based on how many people are willing to help. So it goes beyond just the money, though. There's a lot of people who are just helping by sharing, by the messages, the comments and so on. So that's to be honest with you, it was a tough time for us for a while. But once we saw the support that we're getting, it's almost like now we can't give up. We got to keep pushing. We can't let all those people down.
You've also been very switched on with all avenues of promoting as well. You've got a big social media presence, and I know that that's also helped you. You've done a lot in the community. And how do you find running your own big studio? And one of the things you like to discuss here on the Life Capoeira is just people's different experiences. And obviously, we've got some instructors who just have to rent out like a village hall. What are the day-to-day logistics of having an academy of your own in Toronto?
Yeah, like I said, it's a constant. I saw this thing one time that somebody posted about saying how they wanted to. It was one of those Instagram posts, something along the lines of they wanted more freedom from their job, so they started their own business, and now they work 24/7. So as soon as you start doing something on your own, I'm the type of person that I put a lot of pressure on myself. And so, to be honest with you, there's not 1 minute that my brain isn't turning and thinking about something related to the academy and related to capoeira. And it's even difficult sometimes because, like I said, I have 2 kids at home. I have my wife, and so disconnecting from work and spending time with them sometimes is a bit difficult. And that's something that I'm working on that I want to improve. But it's always on my mind because not only I want to get to that next level, but I also have the concern about, I can't just show up to work and receive a paycheck. That's not how it works. My paycheck is dependent on how successful I am. And so the logistics of it involves really just always promoting and thinking outside of the box. The great thing is that there's no limit to how creative we can be. We can create a promotion. We can go and hand out flyers on the corner. We can come up with some other type of strategy. And I don't have to get approval from anybody. If it works, we continue. If it doesn't, we cut it off. But it's one person making decision, and then we can hit the ground running faster rather than trying to, go through a manager or somebody else who has to approve all types of decisions or asking for permission. Sometimes when you're in a bigger school, you got to get permission. Can I make the shirts? Can I do this? Can I go over there? So I understand that side as well, but my ideas are just so many that it would hold me back if I had to wait, even a few days just to get approved for what I want to do. So I think it's constantly trying to innovate and come up with new strategies. And there's no limit. There's no right or wrong. The wrong ones help you learn how to make the right ones better. And the good ones, they work and you repeat them. But the wrong ones serve a purpose too, which is to educate you.
I know that your wife helps with the running of the academy as well. How big is your boarder team? You obviously seem to take a lot on your shoulders yourself, and you're constantly on the go. I see on your website you've got sort of a team of instructors as well. How easy is it, do you find, sort of managing that aspect of the academy?
Well, I think that one of the secrets to success in a capoeira school is that husband and wife dynamics. I think that that's part of our secret, our success, is that we are a team, myself and her running it. We're not business partners. We're actually partners in life, which makes it so that we both have a similar goal. We don't have this is my money, this is your money, because, I feel like we would be working in separate directions. She would be trying to make her money, I'd be trying to make my money. And so I think that the dynamics that we have makes it perfect. She's been very busy with our kids lately. So in some aspects, she's kind of taken a back seat. But behind the scenes, everything that I need done, phone calls and emails and communication with the students, she's still from home doing that. And I'm more of the execution person and the idea person. I come up with the ideas. We work together how to make it happen. I execute it, but she organizes it all in the back end. She keeps our students. I'm very much, I want to get in, get the job done, and hang out a little bit, but not too much. She's more of the talkative person. She talks to everybody. She makes everybody kind of bond a bit more. Not that I don't like to talk to them, but I'm very targeted. Like, I have a target and I want to hit that. I want to go train. I want to make my students better. I need them to improve on this. I'm not like chit chat all the time. And she's much better on that end. So we balance each other out on that side. So it's definitely a team effort, myself and her. And then we have our team of students as well who help out with putting events together, mostly with putting events together. The day-to-day of the academy is mostly myself and my wife, but the events is mostly actually the students that help organize it. Yeah, so the team is really what makes the events come together. And myself and my wife, we run the day-to-day operations.
How do you help your students learn about the Brazilian roots and culture that are obviously a large part of capoeira?
Yeah, so we try to, the one of many great things about having our own school is that like I said, we experiment all the time. If we were renting space, it would be difficult to get another time slot to run different classes and so on. And so we periodically rotate our schedule, our monthly schedule, to include things like makulele, Portuguese lessons. So I teach Portuguese classes a couple times a month. And in those classes, we talk about the history. We'll take a song and not only translate the song and go to the grammar, but also break down the stories behind the songs. And then We host two. Actually, I have another student who also runs two events. Professor Pulga, who's in a neighboring city from us here in Mississauga. He also hosts his own events, and then we host one annual batizado, which is tied in with a performance, a play, and then another one is a competition. During that play, we get during the months leading up into the play, it's a cultural play talking about the history of capoeira. During those months, we go very deep into the history of capoeira because we're not only researching for ourselves, but researching for the play as well. So we want to make sure that everything that's depicted in the play is accurate. And so we sort of rotate our curriculum throughout the year. We have seminars where it's more training. We have the competition where it's more the athletic and the martial arts and competitive side of capoeira. So we get more into the technical side. And then we have the batizado, which is with the play, we call it Origens da Capoeira, the origins of capoeira. And in that play, we get really deep into the history and the cultural side of capoeira. So I find that that's a good balance to have the sports, the competitive, and then also the cultural aspect of capoeira. And throughout the year, like I said, we rotate through the schedule. Right now, actually last night the students came up with something, and I basically just put the seal of approval, if I like the idea, that we're going to be doing Angola Thursdays. So every Thursday, we're going to finish the class with Angola Roda. And they seem to want to do that, so we're gonna give that a try. And then throughout the month, we'll have a Makulele class and Portuguese class to get more deeply into the culture as well.
Ian, thank you for sharing your story there. The final question I always ask in the podcast is, what is capoeira?
What is capoeira? I can say for myself, we can say, what capoeira is in general, but what capoeira is to me, it's really, this is going to sound a little cheesy, but it's life. It's my life revolves around capoeira, my kids, my family, everything I have today is thanks to capoeira, but not just in the material sense, but also capoeira in my life, they walk hand in hand, because as I learn and make mistakes and correct myself in capoeira, that applies into my personal life. And vice versa. So if things that I learned in life, I think I became a better teacher in capoeira as I matured as a man, as a human being. I started teaching when I was 16 years old. And although I had the moves, I didn't really have too much up here. And so I really believe that as I matured in my own life, my teaching has become better. But also I matured in my personal life because of capoeira, because of the experiences in capoeira. Wanting to help people, wanting to help people overcome. I take it as a personal challenge when somebody comes into my class and they struggle with anything, whether it's the music, the movements, with, maybe they're overweight and they can't really go all the way down. And so I take it as a challenge to myself. I don't see it as it's a flaw in them. I see it as, if I'm good at what I do, I can help them achieve some level of success, right? Maybe, they're not going to learn how to do a backflip if they're 300, 400 pounds, but I will get them to learn capoeira and to moving capoeira, because you don't need to be super athletic. Yes, you need to be athletic if you're going to be a competitor, doing backflips and that sort of thing, but that's a very small portion of capoeira, right? There's much more to it than that. And so I really think that they go hand in hand, my personal life and capoeira. And it's also, to me, reflection. I reflect a lot on the things I say to my students. Sometimes it's something very simple, like they ask me something and I say no, right? Nothing. For example, this example I gave about the Angola Thursdays. There has been a time when I was younger when students would suggest something to me in the class and I would say no. But again, this is in my young days, in my early 20s, my late teens, and somebody would say something, I would say no, I'm going to do it the way I want to do it, and that's it. But I didn't realize that if they're asking, it's because there's a need or they enjoy it. And so I'm here to help them achieve their goals. And if their goals revolve around doing more stretching in the class, we're going to do more stretching, right? So I think that in reflecting on my ways have also made me a better person and a better teacher.
Wonderful. It's interesting what you say there as a science teacher as well as a capoeira teacher myself. I think there's that balance to get between what the students are wanting and what that needing, but then also that human kind of, do you actually always necessarily know best? And it's that's part of the art of teaching is
so that.
And
don't get me wrong, my kids, in my kids class, we have this game that we play with the ball, we call it the ball game. They always ask to play the ball game. And 9 out of 10 times, I do have to still say no. But, if they're saying, hey, can I practice more skivas or more kicks? I'm like, hey, that's a good call. Let's do more skivas, right? So everything with balance, right? It can't just be like, hey, can we just do nothing today? Then even now, like, if we show up and I see that everybody's kind of on a down note, everybody's a little tired. Here it snows a lot, so on days when it's the weather's not very good, I see the energy is kind of low. I say, hey guys, let's just do music today. Or they'll say, can we just do music today? And yeah, it's related with capoeira. We can improve our music, so 100%, let's do music, right? So yeah, it's really, I'm learning with them as I go. I'm learning also, what they need, what their needs are, and then we can adapt what we know with what they need.
Well, I wish you all the best and every success with the new premises and the fundraising to get there. Thank you very much to be on. We'll be linking to the crowdfund and the various social media accounts in the episode description below. And if you want to get in touch with us, you can get us at thelifecapoeira@gmail.com. We're on Facebook and Instagram. And also at the end of January, it's my birthday on January the 28th. So I'd like to invite you to check out the Eventbrite below. We've got Mestre Primo is going to be giving an online capoeira workshop that's obviously accessible to anyone with the internet. And then also, if you're in the UK and can make it to Chichester, then we'll be projecting that on the wall. And we've got a workshop with Mestre, Phantasma, and a Harder and a Batizado for my daughters. And any of the profits are going to be going to Black Cancer UK.
Awesome.
Before we wrap up, Mestrando, are there any closing comments or thoughts that you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Well, if we have any, I'm sure you have both students and teachers. I think that capoeira needs more people that believe in it. People they won't hesitate to open a business and invest money into that business when it's a restaurant, when it's, some kind of a clinic, a sports clinic, a gym. And it seems like capoeiristas sometimes don't believe in what they do the same way. And I think that we need more people that believe in it. I think we need, if there's for the students out there, that if they love what they do, that they consider at least pursuing it in a professional manner, in a manner that if somebody sees them doing their work, that, people will appreciate the work and the effort and the impact that they have on the community, so that we can have more practitioners in capoeira, but not just that, but also more teachers who work with. When you see jiu-jitsu schools and Muay Thai schools, they tend to always have a nice facility and that sort of thing. And I always try very much for that. And so I think that capoeira deserves that. And it's sort of my quest out there to make it so that it's more achievable for more teachers to do that. That's kind of why I share my struggles as well, because a lot of people who see my school don't really know the backstory, because it's been 20 years to get to where it is. And so now people can see it from the beginning. They can see what it is to lose everything and take a huge chance, take a huge risk, right? Like, we're going to invest a lot of money into this new location, but I believe in myself. I believe in capoeira, and I think that we can make it happen, and hopefully inspire some people along the way who are on the fence, and to maybe one day be like, you know what, let me start something small here, and let me start a class at a community center, and then maybe eventually move on to something else, and motivate people along the way as well. So that's why I share my story, and I hope it touches at least one person.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Mestrando Paraiba, and
thank you, my friend.
Good luck with everything, and thank you very much, listeners, for listening. Until next time, ciao.
I appreciate it. Salve capoeira.